Hello, my people. We've reached the end of the year, and we all have the same question in mind. Part 2 when? It's understandable after, 2 months? You've been incredibly patient with me, and I also think it doesn't feel right to end the year without having uploaded anything since October. That's why I've prepared a little preview for you all. 13 completed minutes of the project I've been working on. Yes, 13 minutes is only a preview. Let me first give you some context. My original plan was to do a double upload. The first video being the actual part 2 to this video where I establish personality, themes, and character development for Vergil and Dante in this new alternative reality we've created. The second video is a retelling of Devil May Cry 3 with Vergil as the protagonist. I severely underestimated how much work that specific project would take, but it is my most ambitious one yet as a creator, and it genuinely excites me, which is why I chose it as the preview. And I think I'm just going to stop talking for now and show you what I've been working on. Stick around after it's all done for some more context about this project.
Devil May Cry.
After coming of age, Vergil sets off to establish himself in the world. Although he doesn't have a place to call home, Vergil manages to keep himself afloat as he wanders from one location to the next, marketing himself to those who desperately seek help with forces they do not comprehend. But for Vergil, these demons are mere child's play. His physical prowess offers a stoic reassurance for those who hire him, while his equally adept mind for business fetches Vergil a comfortable profit. However, this line of work was sparse in more areas than others. Thus, Vergil would eventually travel back to Redgrave City, an expansive city with citizens from all walks of life, but also a dangerous and seedy underbelly, one with a demand for exterminating these paranormal creatures. How fitting that Vergil's most prosperous business location is the same place where this journey of his started. Vergil's reputation for being an effective demon hunter was impressive, but he was far from becoming a household name. Nonetheless, this didn't stop Vergil's achievements from reaching the ears of Morrison, a man whose network of information runs deep within the city, and is eager to take his chance at becoming business partners with the promising upstart. Without hesitation, Vergil rejects Morrison's offer. He has spent the first couple of months of his operation as a solo act, and he intends to keep it that way. But it was foolish to underestimate Morrison's ambition and knack for navigating his way through the city's dangerous underground market. Morrison ultimately gained Vergil's respect by not only finding him a client that paid in advance, but also a free center of operation through his many connections. By doing so, he proved his resourcefulness and gave Vergil an option too good to pass up. Thus, Vergil's first ever partnership was forged. Between Vergil's efficient hunting and Morrison's limitless connections, the two create a handsome profit and gather an impressive list of clientele in little time. Within the weeks that followed, the shop was cleaned and well furnished. Walls painted in beige and creamy hues that are offset by the dark furniture. Towards the front of the door, you'll find black couches that circle a rustic walnut coffee table, a comfortable display to welcome his clients. Further into the studio is a sizable wooden office desk, with stationery supplies and several notebooks neatly resting on the left side of the surface. On the right side sits a vintage Victorian telephone and a framed picture of Eva. To the right of this desk is a staircase that leads to a smaller second level, a personal corridor. There's a bed next to a wardrobe that seamlessly blends together with the full bookshelf next to it. Directly across from the bookshelf is a comfortable chair, accompanied by a small circular table, perfect for holding a small candle lamp and Vergil's current book of interest. Vergil had everything he needed for his demon hunting business. All that was missing was a name for the new shop, something that proved difficult for him to decide on. Meanwhile, another more insidious relationship is brewing. Dante, seeking a lifestyle that can take advantage of his inherited strength, becomes a roaming mercenary who goes wherever the work takes him. Dante takes on any target to keep himself afloat, but he also seeks a thrilling challenge, something that human targets rarely provide. Nonetheless, a paycheck is a paycheck, and he always makes sure to flex his strength regardless of the target. Dante's natural talent for fighting and inhuman strength makes him a desirable ally in the pocket of those who can afford him. But his callous nature and impatience for authority makes working with him nearly impossible without some sort of unintended casualty. Not to mention, his lack of ambition for his work makes getting in contact with him equally as frustrating as working with him. Regardless, Dante's unique talents have impressed enough people to establish him as a powerful mercenary in the seedy underground of Redgrave City. Although conflicts involving demons are a regular occurrence for the twin sons of Sparta, they seem to be drawn to Dante more. As such, Dante's life is more frequently interrupted with random assaults by these beings, assaults that only serve to keep Dante's skills sharp and reaffirm his values. At a glance, a son of Sparta that fights with reckless abandon doesn't seem like the optimal partner for Arkham, a cunning and intellectual scholar. But this feature is exactly what makes Dante a better fit for his plans. Dante's strength, lack of care for others' well-being, and thrill for fighting would make him the perfect person to open the gates of Temenegru. All he needs is a little motivation. Upon their first meeting, Dante assumes Arkham is another shady client that wants someone taken out, but he's taken by surprise at the mention of Sparta. His family is something that Dante has spent little time reflecting on, but also something that he has kept to himself. So hearing Sparta's name uttered by this strange man definitely surprised him. However, Dante has little interest in what he sees as another simple demon hunt that he won't even get paid for. As Dante begins to walk away, Arkham mentions the tragedy that befell his family. Dante stops walking. Arkham mentions how terrifying of a sight it must have been, the onslaught of demons that befell their home. Dante interrupts him with a warning, without turning around to face him. Ignoring the warning, Arkham mentions his mother. Feigning sympathy, he asks whether the demons got to her, or if she perished in the inferno. Dante turns around and quickly walks towards Arkham, while giving him a final warning. Now in his face, Arkham remarks how vulnerable and helpless he must have felt during it all. Dante grabs the man's throat and, with ease, lifts him into the air. Despite also possessing the durability of a demon, the intensity of Dante's grip took Arkham by surprise. Recognizing the direness of his situation, he desperately tries to utter words that could quell what he awakened. Dante's eyes were filled with murderous intent as he was minutes away from crushing Arkham's trachea, until he heard one word: freedom. Arkham promises Dante freedom. The grip on his throat is lessened, but he remains held up. Without hesitation, Arkham speaks to Dante's desire for freedom, promising him a way to take control of his life and let the world know that he is not a pawn to be used in someone else's story. The only way for him to be free is to cut down the source, to cut down the Prince of Darkness that defined his life ever since that fateful day. Mundus. By taking the power of Sparta that has been locked away in the demon world, he will make it his own and exert his will. He won't simply be thought of as the son of Sparta anymore. Arkham's words reach down into a desire that Dante didn't fully understand he had until he heard it. After all, his father's power is his by birthright, and even if he isn't interested in actually ruling over demons, the chance to take down the one who used his family for revenge and condemned him to a life of fighting was too enticing to pass up. Undoing the barrier between the two worlds would unleash havoc on humanity, but Dante already cares little for what he considers to be his weaker side. They'll simply have to either survive or die, exactly as he did. There's just one thing that has been bugging Dante. What's in it for Arkham? Arkham says that he is simply a scholar who reveres demonkind and wishes to see them prosper again. Dante remains unsure of whether to believe those words. but still agrees to form a mutually beneficial partnership with Arkham. From my understanding, Temenegru was revived by a ritual that required 7 gatekeepers, who represent the 7 deadly sins, to be defeated and given back their names. Sparta was the one who confiscated their names to seal the tower, and now a son of Sparta is needed to return them. This was the plot of the Devil May Cry 3 manga that, unfortunately, remains unfinished. However, I believe we'll keep this as an explanation for how Dante and Arkham resurrect Temenegru, which is great because Dante not having Yamato is already a headache enough for rewriting this whole story. This will also be how Vergil eventually reunites with Dante and is made aware of their plan. Vergil is filled with complex emotions at the sight of his brother. He's overjoyed to see a brother who he once thought was dead, but is distraught by his talk about releasing demons into the human world. Dante shares Vergil's mixed feelings about this reunion. He's known about his brother being alive since Vergil started making a name for himself in Redgrave, but also refrained from seeking his brother because he knew what would happen if he ever saw him. As Vergil stands before him, the memory of his burning family home rushes back to him, the moment when he stood in front of the Inferno, bloodied and scarred, with the sound of his mother shouting for Vergil's name echoing through the fire. And not his own. Dante attempts to push the memory away and offers Vergil one chance to join him. Out of respect for his brother and the slight possibility of reforming the only connection he has any interest in. However, what Vergil sees is his little brother making a drastic mistake. Thus, his instinct as the eldest sibling kicks in and he rejects Dante's offer. Before Vergil could lecture his brother any further, Dante, with rebellion drawn, cuts him off and tells him he needs the amulet. Vergil would seek to end this madness before it gets any worse, going in with all of his might, but Dante straight up overpowers him. This is a fierce fight, but his natural talent for fighting and years of dealing with the demons that are drawn to him makes Dante too overwhelming of an opponent for Vergil. Dante takes the amulet and leaves his brother, exhausted and wounded. After suffering this defeat, Vergil makes an active effort to learn about Temenegru. He asks Morrison to use his resources to try to track Dante and learn any information about this tower, while Vergil does his own occult research. Arkham's cunning mind makes sure that he and Dante are just out of reach of Vergil and Morrison as they continue their work. A year passes, and eventually the tower is resurrected, but Vergil needs no invitation from Arkham to come and save his little brother. Most of the differences in the storytelling of the events of Devil May Cry 3 will come from the character interactions. The main events will roughly remain the same. Vergil will still fight the same bosses Dante did. Dante and Vergil will have their rematch at the top of the tower. Lady and Arkham have the same dynamic. Arkham will ascend but get defeated by the twin sons of Sparta, and the twins will have their final battle. One of the more interesting things to explore during these events is Vergil's relationship with Lady. We've established that Vergil works alone, but it's for protective reasons. Keeping this in mind, Vergil would have almost like an instinct to make sure Lady survives this tower. He would definitely try to fight against that instinct because of Lady's abrasive attitude towards him, but slowly something about her becomes more and more familiar to him, the more he interacts with her. The two first meet when Vergil catches her out of the air. He tries to talk down to her for even being within the tower, but he's interrupted by a bullet to the forehead.
Let me go!
Let you go? That would be rather foolish, wouldn't it? The same as a human wandering through a tower full of demons by herself. Are you mad? I catch you from falling out of the air, and you shoot me? Very well. Do as you please.
So he's a demon too.
Whoa, hold on. I'm afraid this is all I can show you for now. I hope you enjoyed it and are as excited for it as I am. If you have any questions about Dante and Vergil's new motivations, then those will be most likely answered with the actual part 2 that I mentioned earlier. Both part 2 and this video are in the final stages of production, meaning all of the audio has been recorded, edited, and composed. All that's left is to make these images dance for you on the screen. With both of these videos to go through, I have about an hour's worth of video content to put together. As a one-man show. With also the lovely voice of Emi Richu playing Lady. Trust me, you'll definitely hear more of her voice with the completed project. She's been a friend of the channel for such a long time now. She's lended me her voice talents for several of my videos, and she's always knocked it out of the park, and I am just really grateful that she could do this again for me. For a much larger project too, compared to everything else I've asked out of her. But nonetheless, I am excited to finish these videos and get them to you next year. That was a joke, 'cause it's New Year's Eve. Although I wouldn't blame anyone that took it as a literal year, considering how long I'd take to edit. Anyways, thank you for your patience, and I look forward to seeing what else I can bring to you in the next year. And as always, my people, thank you for watching.